Alright, just check a couple things. Mic's looking good. Music track's going good. Alright. Alright, just check a couple things. Mic's looking good. Music track's going good. Alright, so hello everyone. I'm a touch behind, but I'm here, ready to stream for the very first time, but I don't think it'll be all that difficult. So, to start, I'm Ben Dignan. If you're not familiar with my channel, it's called Religion in the Realms. It's technically it's a podcast, but I put my videos up on YouTube. The show is all about the gods and goddesses of the Forgotten Realms. But this particular stream is session 1 of a 5e solo play campaign. Specifically, if you go back in my videos, you'll see it is session 0 not too long ago. You can see where I set up and generate a whole host of different things for this character, as well as various elements as to where they might be in the setting. Other features that are unique to them. But there are a couple things I wanted to cover before we actually get into things. First and foremost, I don't know if it needs to be explained, but in the off chance someone has never heard of solo gaming for Dungeons and Dragons, this is a solo campaign. What that involves is essentially I am playing the game by myself. I serve both role as player as well as dungeon master. So you do need to have that divide in your mind. You at times, serving as the dungeon master, will know things that your character will not know, and you need to be okay with that. And in my opinion, in order to have the best experience, you do need to ignore aspects of that when you're playing your character. You don't want to metagame your own game, so to speak. So, for example, I may know there's a trap in the next room. We rolled that up, for example, or the situation seems to call for it, and we've made that decision. But when I get into the headspace of my character, I'm fully unaware of that at the moment. My first inclination, unless I'm playing a very paranoid rogue, for example, is not to assume and then immediately go searching out a trap in the next room. Being that as it may, I both run my character in combat as well as run the enemies. All those good things. I would imagine some people, when they play solo games, they want their characters to have a degree of survivability. I'm not saying that my character drops to 0 hit points and just going to kill them outright. That's not going to happen. But there will be situations potentially where they do drop to 0 hit points, and we're going to make death saves and we're going to see what transpires. And the situation might call for them just being captured and taken away by some enemy. The situation might call for them being swallowed whole and being a meal for the enemy. So if it happens, it happens. We'll go with it, and if I do need to roll up a new character, we'll roll up a new character. So that's slow campaigning. What tools will I be using? So the tabletop I'll be using is the Roll20 virtual tabletop. I'm sure many of you are fans of Foundry, Albert Rodeo, the other one that's escaping me at the moment. But I'm just very familiar with Roll20. There are things to be said for the other ones. I've used and played with the other ones, but Roll20 at the end of the day is the one most familiar to me. So rather than me trying to kind of futz and try to learn another virtual tabletop, I'd rather just stick with what I know and stick to Roll20. So that's the virtual tabletop we'll be using. In tandem with that is the Solo Adventurers Toolbox. It is a PDF. I have a PDF copy of it. Essentially, I'll scroll down to the table of contents here. You'll see that there's a list of the chapters that speak to the various different tables you can utilize to kind of determine what things transpire, what things are generated. Gives guidance to what steps we should take next, essentially. At the end of the day, though, is when you roll for something, and if that roll makes utter nonsense for the situation, you can do two things. For example, it's a D100 table, and you roll up 17. You look at the list, the outcome for 17. And if it makes no sense, a simple thing you do is then swap the 7 and 1, so the result becomes 71, and then you go from there. If not, you just roll for it. Sometimes there will be situations where it's so evident what's about to transpire, there is no need to roll. I don't know if that situation will come up today, but we'll see. Sometimes it's just fun to go with your first kind of gut instinct and roll with that. I do have other tables kind of off to the side here on my other monitor in a Word document that I use to generate various things in my own campaigns, just in case we need them. I don't know if we will, because as you'll see, this first session we are kind of stuck in a dungeon, and we're trying to get out of that dungeon. So that's what tools I'll be using. I do have other tables kind of off to the side here. As I explained in session 0, this campaign will be focused on Silver Marches. So what I didn't do in session 0 was I didn't throw up some maps to kind of show that specific region of the world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show off some maps just to kind of show the area I'm referring to specifically. I'm going to show the 5th edition map first. What I didn't do in session 0 was it might be the one folks are more familiar with, just given the burgeoning player base in the system. This technically isn't the boundaries of the Silver Marches, what I've kind of circled out here in red. I do have a handout where I described and listed out the borders of the Silver Marches. So this region, that being the Silver Marches, is hemmed in by the Ice Spires to the north, the Roven River to the south, the Frost Hills to the west, and the Desert of Onrock to the east. So I just follow the red line up here. That's the Ice Spires. We reach the eastern borders here of the Onrock, go along it, and then the River Roven goes down here. So that technically is the southern border. The high forest here, the very northern reaches of it, aren't included in the Silver Marches. Though if you go back, say for example in the Silver Marches book for 3rd edition, it does include the high forest as a region detailed and talked about in that book, as well as this region here to the southeast of the Silver Marches. I believe it's called the Forgotten Lands. Maybe they just kind of threw them in the Silver Marches book because they didn't have another book to kind of put them in. But in any case, so I'm including, again, the most northern reaches of the high forest. do believe the Evermoors are included in the Silver Marches. They're certainly included in that 3rd edition book I was talking about. Nesme, where's Nesme? It's like over here somewhere. 3rd edition map will show it. And then you can see how it runs up here to the Kingdom of Many Arrows and then northwest. And then again along the Spine of the World Mountains to the north. You can see here this one massive forest known as the Glimmerwood. When I show you the 3rd edition map, you'll see that it's not so overgrown. There are indeed 4 different forests up here. I'm not sure if it happened in 4th edition or if it's just something that developed in the 5th edition realms, that the woods kind of grew and encompassed one another, but in any case, this is the 5th edition map. The 5th edition map is what it is. I wouldn't say it's the best detailed map, but that's... I don't want to be here edition bashing, but when it comes to lore and detail, 5th edition, it's not in its strength, especially. So this is the kind of put together poster map of the Silver Marches from the 3rd edition book, well, called Silver Marches. And you can see, just, we are zoomed out here, but you can see that it is far more detailed. You have the names of the various smaller regions in the area. You have all the various different locales marked off. Oh, there's Nesme right here in the southwest of the region. As you can see up here, the Glimmerwood was not a thing back in 100 plus years ago. They were indeed separate forests to themselves, and they have since grown, the trees have grown to encompass one another. But all that to say, I probably will be referring to this map quite often, if not using this map quite a bit as well. This is a hex map. I don't know who made this map. It was on someone's ArtStation webpage, but they certainly did not seem to look like to be the artists of the map. Instead, it looked like someone who just saved it to their account there. Unfortunately, there's no credits listed in the bottom right-hand corner near the legend there or anything like that. I don't know if this map is 100% accurate. It is also a 5-mile hex map, which is a bit unusual. That's not exactly a dimension of hex I'm accustomed to. I usually go with 6 or 8 personally, but we'll make use of it in any case. And I like to use hexes to kind of like measure out distances, track movement. But I'm going to zoom right in just to kind of show where our character is. And our character is here. They are not actually in the Arn Forest. They are below the Arn Forest. They are in the first upper level of the Underdark, known as the Upper Dark. They are in a region known as the Fardrim. I'm going to bring up another map here just to kind of explain that. This, if I believe is a, well, I feel like kind of a, man, you zoom right out here. There we go. I believe someone had the inclination at some point to kind of draw the overlay of the various different Underdark regions found up in the Silver Marches. We are in the region called the Fardrim, which is right up here in the map. If I kind of go out to the west here, you'll see the various other different regions of the Underdark in this specific area. I don't think this is accurate, having make notes on the Fardrim exactly, unless they're referring to some source that I wasn't familiar with, but I'm going to bring up my own notes here just to kind of explain what the Fardrim is. These notes are taken from various source books. You'll see that, of course, I've gone back to some older edition books just to kind of get some information because, again, 5th edition books are lacking. So, the Fardrim is a name given broadly to the Underdark region, both north and east of Menzoberranzan. So, Menzoberranzan is right here. I would say it's more just to the east of Menzoberranzan, personally, but sure. The rough borders of the Fardrim are the Ice Mountains in the northeast. That's where Citadel Adbar are. Onarok to the east, where the ruins of Ascor are. The Nether Mountains in the southeast. And the start of Silvermoon Pass in the southwest. That's right where Sundabar is. And if you're picking up on some things, it should be evident that this is a territory that's kind of bordered by dwarven settlements. The control of the roads and caverns are no longer in the control of the dwarves, though the dwarves push out from their various holds to see what they can retake. And that's kind of been a constant thing that they've been doing for the last little bit. I don't know if that's known to the rest of the humanoid populations of the region, but it's certainly something the dwarves busy themselves with. So there are no service connections in the Fardrim up into the ruins of Ascor, Citadel Adbar, the village of Dead Snows, apparently, Citadel Felbar, Sundabar, and then unspecified locations among the Rovan Mountains. Likely, I forget if it's orcs and goblins up there, but in any case, likely one or two of those different groups have ways into the Underdark, that's for certain. So the various dwarven holds trade with one another, still utilizing the old tunneled out roadways. So the name Fardrim comes from the tunnel network that the old Delzoun Dwarven Kingdom created all those years ago to trade with one another, not just in the immediate vicinity, but in fact, we're going to touch on it a bit. They had a road that went out east, which is now presently beneath the Onarok Desert, but it was beneath the waters where ancient Netherils stood, and they would travel out using that road and trade with the Netherese Empire. But in fact, we're going to touch on it a bit. They had a road that went east. So, Drow refugee enclaves exist out there. The Chitin or Chitin, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, add their own tunnels and passages in the time that have passed. There are treasures and signs of Old Delzoun and all the various different tunnels that exist down there. There have been, in recent history, recent being the 1370s Dale Reckoning, where there has been a push by a certain dwarf to get adventurers out there to entice them with the hopes of adventuring and clearing out the tunnels for in the dwarven name. And there's a couple things about Goran's Hold, which isn't exactly all that needed today. And then again, the low road once ran from Felbar out to former Netherese settlements where the Onarok now stands. And then when Netheril fell, the dwarves of Ascor closed off the eastern portion of the low road. The western portion loosely follows the river Redrun and the fork road passing through the heart of the Fardrim. So the low road still exists. Many of these tunnels and networks still exist. Sometimes dwarves are using them, sometimes they aren't. Many of them lie in ruin. Many of them are being utilized by other Underdark residents. But I think that's enough about me just kind of giving an overview. I just didn't want folks to be going in blind to this when I start like spouting off these like names and nouns and being like, what the hell is Ben talking about? And I think it's kind of good just to kind of give an overview, because unless you're familiar with the old books, you're not going to be privy to this information, unfortunately. And I do implore anyone who's really interested in the realms not to kind of turn their nose up at looking at older books. They're far better in detail, honestly. And I think it's kind of good just and most times you can kind of use the information in them, pull them forward, and maybe make a couple adjustments for the 100+ years that have passed since, and use them in your own campaigns. And I do implore anyone who is really interested in Alright, let me go back to my checklist here. So we gave an overview of the Silver Marches, the Fardrim. Alright, so we're going to determine a couple more things about my PC today. Not too much, just to kind of get the ball roll. Well, determine a couple more things about them. So, on the off chance you're not familiar with what I did in session 0, I've rolled up a level 1 Cleric of Tempest. We determined deity, race, all that stuff randomly, stats as well. In the interim between session 0 and session 1, I just kind of used a table in Xanathar's Guide to Everything for the Norse names. I don't think every Aluskan name is based on North naming conventions, but it's the closest approximation I could kind of think of, so that's the one I'm going with. I have 3 names here: Manning, Brynjar, and Leaf. I'm going to roll a d6, a result of 1 to 2. Their name will be Manning. On a 3 to 4 will be Brynjar, and then 5 to 6 it'll be Leaf. Looking over at the chat, Pat Plays says low road, more like road of bones. Yes, especially out east, beneath the Honor Rock especially. I forget which book speaks to it, but it is said to be haunted by ghosts of dwarves who kind of got cut off in the low road when everything went poorly out east beneath Honor Rock, and you'll find all sorts of kind of nightmarish things in the Underdark beneath Honor Rock, other than just dwarven ghosts. Let's just put it that way. Alright, so let's see what the name is going to be. Okay, so then Cleric's name is going to be Brynjar. Yes, unfortunately, Leaf is not going to be our name, though. Creeping Willow, it is going to be Brynjar. I don't want to speak out of turn, but there is a very what was it? Was he from Greenland? Was he from Iceland? Anyways, one of the old Viking explorers who discovered not so much discovered, but, you know, came to the eastern coast of Newfoundland out here in Canada. But I don't want to get too deep into old medieval Scandinavian history. Alright, so that is our character's name. We can check that off. So, determine appearance using tables. So I have some tables here, and let's go to my character's biography, and I have a couple things I want to determine. Now, age, this table isn't exactly going to be great. Let me zoom right in so folks can actually read what it is I'm showing off. I don't mind playing someone who's 51+ years old. I'm perfectly fine with that, but if they are 10 and under, that's not going to work. So let's roll a d6, see what we get. It's a 5. So 41 to 50 years old. I'm just going to put that in. They're an old fellow. Don't know why they're adventuring at this age, but in any case. Hair feature. D12.
It's a 5. So 41 to 50
6.
years old. I'm just going to put that in.
Thinning. Makes sense.
I don't know why they're venturing at this age.
Hair color. We're going to roll in the, not the unusual hair color table, but just the normal one here. So we're going to roll D12. Maybe if I was playing like a forest gnome or something crazy like that, I might roll on that unusual one. 4 light brown.
Hair color.
Light brown. Hair type. Scroll on down. D12.
Forest gnome or something crazy like that. I might roll on that unusual one.
3. Fine. Hair length.
Hair type.
Roll D10. 8. Hold up.
3. Fine.
An eye color. Where's my eye color table? Right here. D10. 8. Amber colored eyes. That's interesting. So he's looking to be a pretty kind of average looking human, and then I rolled amber eyes, so you know. Alright, so that's our character's appearance. They are of Alaskan descent, specifically. So you'll see I filled in that they're fair-skinned. I won't bother with filling out the rest of these kind of things to fill out in terms of their age and eyes. It's already here on the character appearance section, so I can bother with that later on when we're not, well, when I'm not running a game. Determine appearance in tables, that's done, not dumb. Determine type of creature idol is. So in the last session, those of you who are familiar with the player's handbook, there's a table at the end of the equipment section where there's a trinket table you can roll on just randomly just to see what your character gets. It's not a table I've ever used, but I figured it'd be interesting to do for this campaign just to kind of see what we got. And lo and behold, where was it? Where was it? Here it is. A small idol depicting a nightmarish creature that gives you unsettling dreams when you sleep near it. My first thought was something that was an aberration. Obviously it could be something like a fiend, but I kind of just stuck to the aberration theme, and I made up a small idol depicting a nightmarish table of sorts here in my little notepad document for various different nightmarish / aberrant creatures. So it's a D10 table, and there's some sub-tables. For example, if I roll a Mind Flayer, I want to determine like what kind of grouping of Mind Flayer-esque creature it is, and if it's a Beholderkin, what type of Beholderkin it is. But it's a D10 roll, and then we'll see what we get. And it is kind of fitting, and given that this character has ended up in the Underdark, I don't know if it's going to be that this trinket they have is tied at all to where they are now. So I got a 2. So it's a small item of a gibbering mouther. How interesting. Gibbering mouther. Be that this trinket they have is tied at all to where they are now. So I got a 2. So it's a small item of a Pat plays. I see your comment there about the maps. I'm not deep in the paint, so to speak, in terms of knowing the ins and outs of the various discrepancies between the maps across editions, but Needless to say, there is a lack of consistency that I have noticed. There are strengths and there are weaknesses to other maps and across the editions. I don't have a preference really, I just kind of cross-reference the maps and kind of go off with what I'm given and kind of go from there, so to speak. I try not to get into the whole thing of being like, well, 3rd edition has these things better, 2nd edition has these things better. But yeah. So that was my trinket. Determine alignment of my player character. So, I don't want to say I spoke out of turn. When I said in session 0 that Tempest's clerics tend to be all across the alignment spectrum. Kind of going back over my notes, it seems that actually they are more on the chaotic spectrum in terms of it's more as worshippers come from all degrees of the alignment chart. After all, many people go into battle, so they're always looking for favor or from the god of war. So this is a simple d6 table just to roll on alignment. Yeah, take care, Pat Plays. We'll roll d6 and we'll see what we get. Roll d6. So that's a 2. So that means my character is chaotic good. Yeah, take care, Pat Plays. So are we going to be playing a good boy of Tempest? Alright. Well, I shouldn't say boy, he's a middle-aged man. But alright. That means my character is chaotic. So just give me a sec. So are we going to be playing a good boy? Mute the mic for a second, and then I'm going to take a drink. A middle-aged man, but all right. So just give me a sec. I'm going to mute the mic for a second, and then I'm going to take a drink. Alright. So, probably should have said at the outset how long I'd be going for today. Maybe a couple hours, we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen here. This character might get offed in the first room for what it's worth, but we'll see. Let's bring it back to the actual scene, as it were. Let me get rid of these regional descriptor handouts. They're not really important. Alright. So back in session 0, we determined where it would be we were starting out in terms of the dungeon. We are again in the Underdark. Our character awakes in a small sized dungeon, though they don't know that yet. There's 10 rooms. It is the dungeon of some sort of guild or cult headquarters. I have ideas about that, but we're gonna kind of see how the rolls go. Maybe we can kind of flip expectations if we need to, but I have an idea as to where we are. Starting area of dungeon we awaken. So it's a square 40 feet on all sides room with 6 exits, which are many exits. In the middle, there's a well for drinking water. I'm not going to bother with all the different assets filling out a room, so If anything, we're just going to use our imaginations to kind of place ourselves in the room, so to speak, and picture the scene. There's a pool of water on the floor. The chamber's original contents are water damaged. And then I put, is this a well that has flooded up for some reason? But let me just put a number here just to say this is room number 1. And then we'll get a new handout started. For the dungeon proper. Just call it dungeon for now. I'll adjust the name later if I need to. Session 0. Just copy and paste some things into here. Close that. Save it for now, and then I'll go back to editing it so I don't lose all that work I just did. Drop this down a bit to give us some space. Alright. Starting area, so put room 1. So, Brynjar stirs awake. He finds himself in a chamber. My first question would be, is this chamber lit at all? Because I'm certainly hoping it is. Personally, it's lit. But we're going to let the dice determine that. Because we are human, and we do not have dark vision. So, I think this is a kind of a good 50-50 split kind of thing. So, this is one of the more kind of important things to do. Essentially what we're doing is asking the oracle here a question, a simple yes-no question. And then we turn to our dice. And then we ask, what are the odds of this being likely? Is it possible? Is it likely? Is it impossible? Then we attach a modifier to our roll, and then we refer to the Q&A result table here. 1 to 6 is a result of no, 7 to 12 is maybe, 13 to 20 is a yes. What are the odds of this being likely? I'm saying it's possible that there is light in this chamber, a torch, and a sconce up on the wall. So we roll a d20. That's a 6. I believe that's a no. Alright, so Brynjolf awakes in a dark room. Is unfortunate. Unfortunately, his chainmail links kind of like clinking against one another. He's a little kind of out of sorts. His head's spinning for whatever reason. He kind of like pats himself down just to kind of see if he's wounded, as well as to check his equipment. He finds that his usual weapon is gone. He's clearly armored. While his head's still spinning, he doesn't at least feel any wounds upon his exposed skin. For whatever reason, there's a dagger kind of on his belt, but he's missing all his other effects. Checking around his neck, his holy symbol is still there. But it comes to the point where he needs to gain his bearings as to just wherever it is he is. There's the smell of stagnant water. He doesn't have the means to produce any light, both magical or otherwise. So from there, he must determine and find out just where it is he finds himself. So,
there's the smell of stagnant water.
Our boy is going to be randomly stumbling around. Not randomly stumbling around, but he is going to be very cautiously moving around, I should say. But what I want to do is I kind of want to roll a d8, kind of determine like which direction he goes in. Just go here. Like, we'll say directly north is one, and then go kind of clockwise around from there.
Our boy is going to be randomly stumbling around. Not randomly.
Determine which direction he goes. So 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I kind of want to roll a d8, kind of determine like which direction he goes in. Just go here. Like, we'll say directly north is one.
So I don't think he goes very far. If anything, he's kind of situated very close to the well. That likely is in a central position in this chamber. He kind of feels his way around the well. Not sure if he can determine it's a well, but he can at least determine it's a circular stone structure. And he kind of like feels around. You feel like the wooden support over top the well from where a bucket drops down beneath. I think that's enough context for him to determine that that's a well. And he can also, when he's kind of slowly kind of padding around the outside the well, he notices that the floor is not so much drenched, but it is wet. He keeps that in mind because he is without his water skin, and perhaps he might need to utilize this well in the coming hours to kind of keep himself alive. But he needs to find a vessel. Though he could just drink from a bucket straight, I guess, but he does need to find a vessel for later storage. So he'll keep moving on over to the western wall. His hands meet the stone wall. And I'm going to determine which direction he goes in, just a d6 here. North will be odd results and evens will be south. So feels his way up to the door here. And we get to our first door. So let me refer back to the door chart. So dungeon encounter, setting 1.
North will be odd results and evens will be south.
I think I'm in the wrong section. 1 sec. Yes, I am. Okie dokie. Passages, past contents, door, table. Here we go. Four. Standard wooden door, braced with metal, unlocked. Opens onto a passage, stairs, or room. So, say, it's the northwest door on western wall. Okay. Now, I don't want to get to the whole kind of... You know what this is like if you've Dungeon Mastered before. Your players encounter a door, and they want to investigate the door, and they want to perceive around the door. I kind of want to get things going, so I'm just going to roll a d4. We're going to see what's behind the door as our good friend Brynjar opens it up, see what happens. So this opens onto a room.
I kind of want to get things going.
Opens onto a
I'm just gonna roll d4.
room.
See what's behind the doors.
So
Bring
room 2. Stairs table, room table. So it's another d20 roll. 6. Square. So it's very similar to the room we're in. This time I'll remember to add 1 to my d6 roll. So roll d6.
Alright.
So it's it's another 40 feet by 40 feet room, I believe.
20 roll.
It is. Okay.
Square.
How am I gonna do this?
So it's very
Well,
similar to the room we're in.
We'll feel it out. We'll see what happens. Draw shape. Black.
It's another 40 feet by 40 feet room, I believe.
Okay.
It is. Okay.
1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
How am I gonna do this?
1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm not gonna get bogged down in. Well, now Ben, you just gotta connected that door down to this door. That's fine with me. I have no reason to be put out by that. Works for me. But I'll put the details for this room in here. We don't want to get bogged down in making things always, you know, work out exactly. Unless the situation really calls for it. So 40 feet normal sides with 3 exits. So the thing is, we already know the 3 exits, us as the dungeon master in this situation. But we know there's another door. Let me just grab the door from the map layer here. Just Control C it. Oop. Get rid of that. And we'll just, for space, we'll throw it down here. There we go. So, and we'll put room 2. Okay, so it's 40 feet on all sides, 3 exits. And we'll just, for space, we'll throw it down here. And oh, there's a whole other thing about here. See, this is, we're learning as we go. Make a D100 roll, 50% chance the exit is a door. So those all could have been archways in that one room. That's okay. I'm not gonna get, again. At this stage, might be a good idea to, yes. Give me a sec. Oh, there's a whole other thing about here. See, this is learning as we go. Make a D100 roll, 50% chance the exit is a door. So those all could have been archways in that one room. That's okay. I'm not gonna get some Dungeon Master Guides tables open here, so for reference. So the layer page is random dungeons. It's what is that? 290 something. Would have helped if I had this ready to go, huh? Oh well, live and learn. Alright. At this stage, it might be a good idea to access the room description and content tables in the DMG. Provide flavor, yada yada yada, and give info on room types in the current state. Or you can simply roll on the table below and adjust the room type to fit the contents. Level appropriate. Deadly encounter, remnants. Let's see here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to use these 2 tables in tandem. What we'll do is we'll roll on the layer table in the Dungeon Master's Guide, determine what kind of room it is, what its function is, determine the room state, and then we'll roll on this D100 table in the Solo Adventurer's toolbox and determine what might be in there: a combat encounter, an NPC, a trap, and go from there. So, function. So say D20. Cistern or well for drinking water. We're not. Again, see, this is one of the situations where you want to re-roll because you don't want the same thing coming up. Guard room for the defense of the lair. So, that doesn't mean that there's guards in there. There might be, but defense of the lair. Okay. Then our state of our room. It's a d20 roll. It's one of my favorite tables to roll on. Pool of water. So, state. Pool of water linked in from room 1. Alright, and then we'll roll on the D100 table to see what's inside. Again, this is for us to know and Brynjar to find out. 68. NPC. Enemy or ally of the PC. Near death. 1d4 levels less than you. Minimum level 1. Unconscious. Level appropriate hard encounter. Well, this is involved. Enemy or enemies reduced to 50% hit points. Loot 50%. A battle has obviously gone on here. The NPC has fought a powerful creature and lost, but has damaged it somewhat. Alright, let me duplicate this. So we have more than one copy of this toolbox open. Monster encounters for the solo PC. We'll worry about who the NPC is in a second. Well, sorry, after we found out just what it is we're fighting. So we know this is a hard encounter. So there's a section here for level 1 hard. We roll d6. 3. So 1/4 CR monster. 1/4 CR. Oops. Monster. Okay, so we know what we're going with. Now if I keep scrolling, because I've done this before, there's a kind of lists out the various different creatures you might find in specific like regions. So for example, here's aquatic, coastal, desert, dungeon, underdark tables. So let's zoom on out here so everyone can see the actual table. I'm gonna roll a d20. 12. 12. Akuatoa. Oh boy, Akuatoa. Well, you love to see it. I get the old Akuatoa stats open for myself. Let's bring Brynjar through the door. And then let's open up the tokens. This is just a kind of a blank token here. I have kind of Brynjar stats here for reference. And I'll just put in the Akuatoa stats real quick. 13 AC, 18 hit points. I believe we're going to adjust that in a second. Passive perception 14. Okay, let's go back to this. So NPCs near death on the ground. We're not concerned about them. They're unconscious. Level appropriate hard encounter. We've already determined that. We'll determine loot afterwards if we are still alive. So the Akuatoa is wounded and at 50% hit points. So the 9 of their 18.
Concerned about them.
Oops, that did not save.
Cautious. Level appropriate hard encounter. We've already determined that.
So,
Determine loot.
Brynjar
If we
has made his way into a chamber. The water continues through from this door into the next. At the moment, he is not being quiet. He's being cautious, but I wouldn't say he's being quiet. And he has unfortunately made his way into a room, though he doesn't know the function of the room,
Brynjar,
where there has been a battle that took place while he was unconscious on the ground.
the water continues through from.
Unfortunately, there's a fish-headed denizen of the Underdark in here,
He is not being quiet.
who has the benefit of dark vision,
He's being cautious.
Who?
He's being quiet.
might just rear up and strike. But I think there's something in here about determining, let me back up a bit in the document. There's a specific table here about monster motivation. Monster reaction round table by table, tactics table. So we'll roll d100 to see what our Kuatoa's current state is, other than this being wounded. So 70. Monster simply attacks, purely out of instinct. Alright. Do I want to give it so that the Kuatoa... Well, the Kuatoa isn't being quiet. They're wounded, so they're likely panting. Not that I'm sure Kuatoa pants when they're wounded, but at least they're breathing substantially. So Brynjar knows he's not the only one in this room, so they're both aware of one another. So this is just going to be a straight up good old initiative. Turn. Roll for the Kuatoa first. Kuatoa is just a straight d20. Great. Okay, then it's Brynjar. Brynjar has a flat 10. Yep. Things are going good for Brynjar.
Great.
Okay, so.
Okay, and it's Brynjar. Brynjar has a flat 10.
Kuatoa is up first. The Kuatoa has 120 feet of dark vision. They know that a human just stumbled through those chamber doors and is going to...
Kuatoa is up first.
they have 30 feet of movement, I would think. Yeah.
Has 120 feet of dark vision.
Just
That a human just stumbled
run up to Brynjar.
chamber doors
Let's see here.
and is going to.
Do they bite, spear, or net? Let's roll d6 and see. So spear is the second option, so they're going to try and spear old Brynjar here. It's 3 to hit. Alright. Okay, yep. That's a good start. That's a good start. This is two-handed. Brynjar just got struck for 8 points. And he has a single hit point left. So. Alright. Oh, does Kuatoa have anything else? Based on that. No. So I'll just kind of. The creature misses the Kuotoa with a weapon attack. The Kuotoa uses its sticky shield to catch the weapon. Oh, so it's got a shield up. Alright, so that actually just should have been a D6. No. We'll go with they don't have their shield. I already kind of made that determination. Maybe their shield got broken in a last combat encounter. So they're without their shield. We'll just keep to it. And it is Brynjar's turn. Now my question is, what is this fine fella going to do? He's wounded.
We'll go with they don't have their shield.
He's fighting a creature in the dark. Do we shield of faith and then dodge? Do we heal ourselves and then dodge? Do we just go all out on the attack? I think Brynjar is going to do. He got a little messed up there. Well, he couldn't heal himself and dodge, could he? He only could cure wounds. So, this is probably not the smartest thing to do. But we're going to do it, and we're going to let the dice fall where they might. It's going to cost Shield of Faith, bonus action, AC 18, action, dodge. Bring it back to the Kuotoa. Let's see what they're gonna do here. That means they're going to bite, which is actually to our benefit because the bite's not very strong. So we'll roll 2d20. The modifier is +3, so we'll add the +3 afterwards. So not one. All right, good. So it's an automatic miss. Brynjar is not quite in a bad state. Alright. Alright, Brynjar. Over to you, my friend. What do we do in this instance? Do we want to heal ourselves back up, potentially? Do we just try to stab out at the Kuotoa? I think maybe what's smart. Well, he's a Temporan, right? He's gonna stand and fight. So, I think he's going to try and heal himself first. So we're dumping all our spell slots right quick. But it is what it is. 2 points of heal. Alright. Oh boy. He's going to stand and fight. So, well, this is what I get for having a poor wisdom modifier. Dumping all our spell slots right quick. Alright, so that's action. He could just run and throw himself in the other room, but he's not going to run. So Kuotoa is back up. There are tables for rolling like a monster's reaction every turn, but I mean at this state the Kuotoa seems to have the advantage, so it's going to do what it does. It's going to try and bite again. Again, that's to our advantage. Yup, that's a hit. Brynjar has a chance to still be on his feet. Let's see. D4 plus 1. Alright. He's at 0 hit points. So, alright. The The Kuotoa bit him. Not so much, he didn't bonk him on the head. Now I know technically you can declare your attacks non-lethal in 5th edition. Some of that's never sat right with me because depending on the specific attack, it doesn't make much sense. So I'm saying Brynjar's bleeding out, but he doesn't know what's going on, so we've kind of faded to black at the moment. And Pat Plays made up a good, stated a good point earlier. Kuotoa probably would not kill him outright. They probably want to use him for something else later on down the line, whether that might be a sacrifice, whether that might be trading him for as a slave to other Underdark denizens. Stated a good point earlier. Kuotoa probably would not kill him outright. Alright, so to the death saves. Something else later on down the line, whether that might be a sacrifice, whether that might be trading him. That's in that one. Trading him for as a slave to other Underdark denizens. Alright, that's in that one. Yep. Well, that's a success. That's that one. That's my token settings. What am I doing? The 10's a success. Oh, Pat Plays. Brynjar does not have any medicine, and he does not have an NPC helping him. He's on his own. Personally, obviously I put him in this poor situation, but I did that on purpose. Now, it's the ultimate D20 roll to see what happens. Brynjar does not die today. He's unconscious. Now, the ultimate D20 roll. See what happens. He's unconscious for 1 hour. I believe it's a D4. Determine how many hours he's out for. He's unconscious. Alright. We have to ask ourselves some questions now. He's unconscious for 1 hour. I believe it's a D4. Is this Kuotoa as much prisoner in this dungeon as he is? Is the Kuotoa the group that inhabits this dungeon? Is the Kuotoa going to take him elsewhere? We have to ask ourselves. So I think at the important question to ask, referring back to our tables at the beginning. Is this Kuotoa as much prisoner in this dungeon? It's like page 12. Yeah. Is the Kuotoa the group that inhabits this dungeon? Our first yes/no question is, are Kuotoa the denizens of this dungeon? I'm going to say it's likely. I'm going to give it a +2. We are in the Underdark. I wouldn't say it's highly likely, so we roll D20. We'll add a +2 to it. Our first yes/no question is, it's a 10. That's a maybe, I believe. The denizens of this dungeon. It is. So to me, if I interpret that, maybe would suggest that they are in conflict with another group in this dungeon. It's up for grabs. Well, not up for grabs, but there's a conflict. So to me, if I interpret that, maybe it would suggest, is there a disease for the Kuotoa's bite? No, it's just a normal bite. They are in conflict with another group in this dungeon. It's up At the very least, we know the Kuo-toa reside in this dungeon. So Brynjar is going to be dragged over to their side of the dungeon. Unfortunately, well, no. There's still a chance here. There was an NPC who was dying out on the floor. This Kuo-toa has been graced by, I'm not even going to try to pronounce their goddess's name. I'm not in that sort of mood to even attempt it. But they've been graced today. And they have captured 2 prisoners that they can bring to their leader. So, how would I do that going forward? What I think I will do is I'll build out kind of I'm going to build out what goes past this door here. And then once we get to another room, we're going to stick Brynjar and his prisoner friend inside that room as they kind of both awake. Probably being guarded by Kuo-toa. And we'll kind of go from there. I'm going to build out what goes past this door here. What is the wounded NPC's race? Then that could make this a whole thing. Well, we're going to find that out in a second. We have to first get to where it is Brynjar is going to wake up, and then we'll determine who this NPC is. So... Let me scroll up here. I'm going to make an executive decision. To make this a passageway that branches off from the that room there. So it's a D20. 7. 1d4 times 10 comes to a 4-way intersection. 1d4 times 10. 20. The old draw tool. Get out of the way, turn tracker. I don't need you anymore. Section. We'll go like that for now. Yes, I know it looks like they're walls, but just to kind of hint that it's a 4-way intersection. That looks like an utter mess, but it's okay. This doesn't need to be pretty. 4-way intersection. Probably need to make another passage roll, huh, for D6, just to kind of see where they go. 1 to 2, it's going counterclockwise. So we'll go north. Roll D20. 3. D6. Passage goes for 30 feet and ends in stairs. So we're already at 15. Add another. Go like that. No, that's not technically exactly what the book said, but it is what it is. Let's add some stairs in here. Give me a sec. Passage goes for 30 feet and ends in stairs. Nope. Wrong tool. Okay, now because this could build out to like another passageway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw a room here at the end, because again, we don't want this going too long in the tooth with like nothing happening except for me just building rooms, and not so much rooms, passages and stairs and things like that. So actually, let me remember this time to roll a D100 to determine if it's just an archway or there's actually a door there. So 58.
We don't want this going too long in the tooth with nothing happening except me just building rooms. Things like that.
Where was it? There's like a percentile roll. Anyway, if it's 50 or higher, it's a door. So it's a door.
58.
And then we'll throw a door there. Okay. And door, and then a room. Specifically, let's do 20 again. Get rid of these character tables. I say get rid of these character tables when we're about to determine an NPC. Good job, Ben. Alright. I roll 11. Rectangle, d6 plus 1, my 10 feet. So it's 40 feet by 10 feet.
Rectangle, D6 plus 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. This will be. Where's the writing tool? There it is. 3. Copy and paste this kind of as a something to fill out later on. So I don't really need to put down the dimensions. I can see the dimensions on the map. Get rid of the function and determine that again. State. Okay, refer to the Dungeon Master's Guide. Allegedly, this is an armory stocked with weapons and armor, but this could be modified real quick with the current state table, so let's just see what happens. 3. It's in rubble.
This is an armory.
Partially collapsed.
But this could be modified real quick with the current
Oh yes, and then the number of doors off this thing. With what is it? 1d6 exits.
partially
4 exits, huh? Alright. Nope, wrong tool.
Oh yes, and then the number of doors off this thing.
Put one there. One there. And we'll put... Sure, why not? We'll put one here. Now again, they look like they're doors. don't have to be doors. They're just kind of signifying a entry point in and out of the room. Let me get back on the token layer. Bring old Brynjar over here. Alright. So.
These are, they look like they're doors. They don't have to be doors. They're just kind of signifying an entry point in and out of the room. Token layer.
Oops.
Bring your over here.
Alright, so the solo handbook give me a NPC table? I imagine it does. There it is. 98. Yeah, I was looking at this race table. I don't know if I like it. It seems a bit off. I don't think it's as fun, so give me a sec. I'm actually gonna bring in my own tables to use here. So let me go to my drive over here on my other monitor and get out my own tables to use that we used in session 0.
I don't think it's as fun, so give me a sec. I'm actually gonna bring in my own tables to use here.
Let me actually scroll back in chat just to see if there's a question or a comment I'm gonna reflect. I don't want to leave too much dead air here. No, I don't want a new Google Doc. Looking the wrong section, that's why. There it is. I'm gonna bring this on over here. So, roll d8. Actually, let me get this NPC race. What's 6? Half elf. Okay. Determine which kind of half elf they are. Oops. 4. So they're half wood elf. And then it says here, NPC, level appropriate hard encounter. So there is I believe there's a table here for, oh, there's a table here for all sorts of determining gender and alignment and stuff. But it specifically says level, so that to me means their class. And this is in 3rd edition where you can have a, what is it, like a level 3 aristocrat or something like that. Do 12. Yes, 12.
Specifically says
They're-
level.
oh, so 5, sorry. They are a fighter.
This is the 3rd edition of Mastodon. The level or even worse like that, something like that.
Something else I'm missing here. Alignment, that's where I was looking. So, 100 for alignments. 50. Got too many of these duplicate things open. 50. They are true neutral. That's good enough for me to start. It's good enough to start. Alright. So, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to set the scene here. No, the first question I have is... This room is guarded. I'm gonna make that decision that it's guarded. My question is then, how many Kuoto are in this room?
No, the first question I have.
And I think what I'll do is I'll roll a d3,
This room is
and we'll
guarded.
go from there.
I'm
Maybe a d4. Go with a d4.
My question is then,
There's 3 Kuoto in the room.
how many Kuoto are in this room?
So 1, 2, 3. And then I'll bring out this. I don't know if this half-elf fighter's alive still. They were bleeding out. Maybe we'll make some death saves for them when we come back. But for now, this is the setup for kind of the next bit of this session. Is Brynjar awakes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break here for about... probably 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll get back to it. Alright. So, let me get the dungeon handout open a bit more. So not a bit more, opened it so we can edit it. So I was thinking about it on break, and what I've kind of determined is that both me, Brynjar, and well, I don't want to say myself as Brynjar because we want to really kind of keep us neutral from what's transpiring in Brynjar's story. As you can see, he got messed up real bad and knocked out by a bunch of Kurotoa, and they're going to do what they're going to do with him next. But he awakes, finding himself beside a female half-elf of wood. Her elven ancestry is wood. She's true neutral, though we don't know that. Did want to kind of just determine a couple things about her, just to kind of have an idea, just in case we need to kind of role play out a situation to determine what she's going to do. So there is a disposition table here for NPCs I'm going to roll on, just so I have something to kind of go off of. 37. Her disposition is serene / peaceful. So there is a disposition table here. I don't know if she's serene and peaceful in this type of situation, but and then we won't worry about age. And the next kind of thing to determine is there's a table here for... You know what? I'm going to make use... If you'll give me a sec. There's another tabletop game called Ironsworn that has solo play built right into it. And it has some good tables that can be kind of cross the boundaries of system quite easily. And I'm going to bring it over for reference in this game because I know it has a character goal table. And it'd be good to know, just offhand, just in case it ever needs to come up, what this NPC's goal is. Because I know it's 70. Advanced status. It'd be good to know, just offhand, just in case it ever needs to come up. Close a couple things here. So, Brynjar awakes. He's in a rubble-strewn old armory. Earlier I said I had a good idea as just to what kind of guild or cult may have inhabited this or built this out first. Given we're in the Fardrim, I'm of a mind to say that this is a abandoned old trade headquarters for some mercantile dwarven company or group. It's been long abandoned, so the weapons and armor that are in here are rusted, worn, well not even worn, but essentially aren't, while usable, aren't exactly the most durable items and probably wouldn't, not probably, would not function as well as your kind of newly made
Weapons and armor that are
weapon or armor.
are rusted, worn when I'm worn.
So Brynjar awakes,
Essentially
kind of
Well,
stirs a bit.
aren't exactly most durable.
He is bound,
Probably
both.
would not function as well as
Well, you know, let's.
newly made.
At the very least, his hands are bound, but are his feet bound? Is the thing. So let's go to the table. How bright are Kuatoa? Average intelligence? Alright, so I'm gonna give him a +2, making it a likely situation. So 8, so maybe. So the question was, are Brynjar's... Sorry, we know Brynjar's hands are bound, as well as this female wood elf who's beside us. The question is, are their feet bound as well? And the result we got was a maybe. So maybe their feet, their legs aren't bound as well as they could be. And we'll go with that. Just, it'd be nice to give him a fighting chance, potentially. So, as he stirs, this half-elf sort of stirs as well, as they're both kind of on the ground. She kind of whispers over in his direction in common. I trust you can't see in the dark, but there are 3 of these fish-headed fools in the room with us. Brynjar kind of nods, though. It might be he doesn't even know half-elves have dark vision. Brynjar is he's not dull-witted, but he's not the smartest man either. Alright, what do you think? What do you suggest our next course of action should be? Well, chances are they're going to either save us for sacrifice, or they're going to sell us as slaves, perhaps to some Dwergar or Drow. So, both of these, Brynjar and this elf, half-elf, they both have 1 hit point. They're not in a very good situation. But this wood elf will point out, well, let's just see what the doors are like here. Both of these, Brynjar and this elf, half-elf, they both have 1 hit point. They're not in a very good situation. The dungeon things are around page 40. Starting areas, passage tables. I swore there's a D100 for, here it is, when generating exits, make a D100 roll, 50% chance the exit is the door. Okay. So I'm gonna have to write this out, because if I don't, I won't remember it. So we'll scroll back up to here. We know southeast door leads to the stairs. So then we have the southwest door. if it is in fact a door. In the northwest door. And then we have the, we'll call it the northeast door. No, it's not technically in the corner. And we'll roll D100. And then we'll go kind of down the line. And determine if these are doors or just archways. So the southeast door, archway. Door in the southwest corner, northwest corner. That's actually to our benefit, is an archway. The northeast door. Door. Okay. So this room table. Let's go back up to the door table here. T100. Nope. You can see that I'm used to sometimes using the Avery dice bot on Discord, where I substitute the backslash for a exclamation mark. 87. Well, that's interesting. So you lock door. It needs a key, which is on the body of a humanoid monster somewhere in this dungeon. There's a reason they do not want anyone to enter. So that's the southwest door. Then the last door we need to roll up is 18. So you lock door. It needs a key, which is on the body of a humanoid monster somewhere. Okay. There's a reason they do not want anyone to enter. So that's the southwest door. Put in brackets here. Does this lead towards where the other faction lies? So, and the situation is that Brynjar and this half-elf kind of, when they can, share words with one another. The wood elf is Brynjar's eyes at this point because he cannot see in the dark. And she points out specifically that this northwest door over here is an archway. And perhaps they can find a way when the time is right to sneak over and kind of crawl their way in through this chamber here, and then hopefully make a break for it, see what transpires. So rather than just kind of being like hemming and hawing about, oh, are the Kuo-toa ever going to like break off? Are they ever going to kind of like just sit down and kind of like talk amongst themselves? I'm just going to kind of say there's a moment where where these two individuals, There's a question. Brynjar definitely does not have his dagger anymore. That's gone. So actually, let me get his character sheet open. Let me just get rid of that. Say there's a moment where these two individuals. All right, let me make it roll here for. Do they take his armor? Just make it a straight kind of yes, no. No. Okay, they didn't take his armor. Did they take his idol? 13's a yes. Yes. And then did they take his holy symbol? No. Alright. Brynjar can't exactly check his pockets to say whether or not he has that idol. The thing is I don't want to just say he's kind of like, oh well, that strange idol that I've had for a while is just gone now. Too bad. It's probably important to him for some reason. It's important enough for him to keep it despite the fact that it gives him bad dreams. It's possible that he's been tasked with his a member of his faith to kind of find out what it is and kind of discover that. But in any case, I'm going to be honest with you folks, I was kind of hoping he didn't have his armor because otherwise he's not going to be able to sneak very well. So let's see here. Stealth. So half-elf and Brynjar are going to try and stealth. Now this is a... well, it's not... no, we'll just roll and go from there. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Just stare right in your face. Well, if he had not had his armor on, he would have had a nat 20 on that. Roll for the elf. I don't really know what her dexterity is, but we'll just kind of go off with the assumed elves get like a +2 to dexterity, so we'll just give her a +1. Yeah, so she rolls well. But we'll make this a fail forward kind of situation that she decides she's going to go first. So she kind of crawls up through here. Then as Brynjar's starting to crawl forward, he unfortunately makes a little bit too much noise. But we have to see what's in this following room, and maybe that will help them or might hinder them even more. Okay. Starting area. What is beyond? Open entrance. Roll d4. One. It's a passage. Let's go to the passage table. Roll d20. 16. Passage widens 1d6 divided by 2 times 10 feet. Okay, it's kind of like a modified thing, so I'm going to keep that in consideration. Roll another d20. We got a 3. Passage goes 30 feet and ends in the stairs. Okay, so let's go back to 16. Passage widens 1d6 divided by 2. Oh, why did I do that? So the minimum is 10 feet, so it opens up to be 10 feet. And it is, what? 30 feet and ends in stairs. Okay. Map layer, draw the shape.
I do that.
So we'll say it's like 5 feet. No, that doesn't make much sense.
10 feet. So it opens up to be 10 feet.
So it's like, this is gonna look real weird, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So it's 30 feet it goes for, so that's 6 squares. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. God, that looks like an absolute bag of hammers. Alright, but so it opens up the stairs. Oops. Okay. Bring the stairs over here. Just widen them out. Okay. Then we go to the stairs table. Roll a d20. 18. Up one level to a passage. Add 15 to the passage contents rolls, because there is a passage content. No, I think that's a... Let me go back down to the passage table. Where a percentage value is given, take that as direction to make a D100 roll. Okay, so that didn't happen, I believe. Let me go back down the passage table. Okay. Where a percentage value is given. So, if you'll recall, when I rolled to see whether these individuals had their feet bound as much as their hands were bound, the answer was maybe. So to that point, I said maybe their binds weren't quite strong. Maybe the rope that the Kuto used is poor. So to that point, what Brynjolf is going to do, he's going to make an athletics check. He's going to, what would be an athletics or strength? Probably just strength. He's going to make a strength roll to see if he can break his binds around his calves and ankles. That's a pretty good roll. I would say that's more than enough. And then he would yell as such to the half-elven woman that's beside him for her to break her bonds. We'll just make it a d20 roll. I don't want to try to determine too much about this half-elven fighter NPC that we've rolled up, so I'll just make it a flat d20 roll for now and go from there and see what she gets. 13. I didn't exactly set a DC, did I, for this? Let me refer to the usual difficulty classes for, I usually have them internalized in my mind, but I can't quite remember them offhand. So easy and moderate. I was going to go with a DC 15. Brynjar obviously got 15 right on the money, which is a success. This half-elf, she got a 13, so she didn't exactly break them, I'd say. More to the point, she's probably just loosened them off. Maybe a couple of the binds, well, maybe it's probably more she just loosened them off, but these two can deal with that in a little while. So what happens is that Brynjar has
more to the point, she's probably
Well, we should probably roll initiative just to see what happens here, just to see who acts first. Well, Brynjar's already acting, so I guess he's already gone first.
these two can
Deal with that
in a little while. So what happens is that
what to do here?
has
I think he would... He's chaotic good. He would pick up the half-elven fighter. He's quite strong. He has a 17th strength. So, scoops her up and runs towards the stairs, but we're in a chase situation sort of thing, and we're running blind through the dungeon, as it were. So that's interesting. But these stairs are going up. So the stairs suggest as such. Okay.
We're in a chase situation sort of thing, and we're running blind through the dungeon, as it were. So that's interesting.
I honestly forget what I got for my my roll for these stairs. Was it 18? I think it was 18. Up one level, 2 passage, add 15, so it's another passage, okay. It's the contents table. D20. 7. 1d4 times 10. Continues 10 feet and comes to a 4-way intersection. Okay. 24 times 10. 10 feet. And we have a 4-way intersection. Continues 10 feet and it comes to a 4-way intersection. Okay. Alright, so I think this being, these folks being surface dwellers, they probably want to try to get up. They take stairs going up as a good sign. So they run up the stairs and they come to a 4-way intersection. One way goes to the left, one way goes to the right, and one way goes continues on down the hallway. No, I have a half-elf who has dark vision, who can serve as Brynjar's eyes. So I'm going to roll a d6, and she's going to take a look down one of the passages. So straight on. Straight on. Let's see what she sees down that way. D20. 2. Passage goes 15 feet and ends at a door. So I already got, this is the intersection technically, so that's 5, 10, 15. Ends at a door. We just get the door here. to the door table. Roll a d20. I don't know if that bodes ill or well, being it's a 20, but we'll see. Oh, it's a d100 table. Sorry, not a d20 table. $16. Standard wooden door braced with metal unlocked. Okay. 16. Standard wooden door braced with metal unlocked. Advance the narrative a bit here. Kuo-toa are in hot pursuit. We've already determined they don't want to kill Brynjar and this half-elf. They do have nets, but their nets only go up to 15 feet, kind of a... It's 5 feet normal, then 15 feet is the limit of the range. I do think it's fair, though, to give at least one of the Kuo-toa here a net attack, because I can't give Brynjar too much leeway here. I know he's sort of the focal point of the narrative, but they just can't get away that simple, so it's a... I do think it's fair, though, to give at least one of the Kuo-toa here I'll roll 2d20 and take the lowest, because they're rolling at disadvantage. Can't give Brynjar too much. So that's a 6. Focal point of the narrative, but that's a 5, because they're adding... They just can't get away that simple. So what is it? Plus 3 to these. 2d20. Well, they are doing it at disadvantage, unfortunately. Or fortunately, so that's a 7. So, well, no, we'll just carry on. I don't want to get too bogged down with this. We'll just keep going. So Brynjar has either dodged out of the way, or these Kuo-toa have managed to just straight up miss them with their nets. As Brynjar awkwardly... It might even be the half-elf who's kind of like he's like... His hands are balanced, he's kind of like got her picked up really awkwardly, and she's like using her hands to then awkwardly open up the door. As the two of them just kind of like open it up. Brynjar just uses like the back of his heel just to like kick the door, the back of his heel closed and behind them as they just go in. Well, it's time to find out what's in the room. Okay. Dimensions first. D20. It's a 1. Wrong thing. And this. 4. Dimensions. Function. Oops. State. Content. Tense. Okay, so roll d4. That, so it's 30 feet by... Well, that's just a square, isn't it? Well, we'll stick to the... I'm not too caught off, like I don't really care that that's not a rectangle. Square, 30 feet on all sides. I'm not too interested in this rolling a d6 for exits. I think it's more apt to be a d4. So make it 2 exits. So there's one other exit here. So it's a 30 feet room. Let's draw that out.
I'm not too
That's 6.
exits. I think it's more apt to be a
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So there's one other exit here. So it's 30 feet.
4, 5, 6. Okay. Roll d3, because we can do that here for where the archway or door is. So it's on this side. We won't determine if it's an archway quite yet, because we have to determine the most important thing is what the heck is in this room.
Archway or door is.
So this room contains... Let's see, we got that already. What's with the cistern rolls for this table? It's the 3rd time that's happened. 4. Barracks where the Lairs defenders are quartered. What's with the cistern rolls for this table? It's the 3rd time that's happened. 4. Barracks where the Lairs defenders are quartered. State. $13. Furniture wrecked, but still present. What I'll do, it's been a long time since I built out macros on Roll20, but what I'll do going forward is I'll build out some macros, so it's just a matter of clicking the macro and generating everything. Honestly, I wanted to do this kind of roll by roll, just to kind of give anyone who's new to solo play just to see the ins and outs of it, to see the tables you can roll on. But for brevity and for moving things along, macros will make this a lot quicker. And then chambers contents. Roll a d100. 82. Empty. That's actually not bad for us, all things considered. Empty. Mission relevant loot chance 30%. Well, I don't think Brynjar and his half-elf companion are going to even attempt to search out loot, but we'll keep that there just in case the opportunity ever presents itself to search out this room anymore. But I wanted what they would do in this situation if I was them I'd look across the way to the door just to see what it's like. So we'll generate what the door is. Door, west side. Okay, door. Oh, sorry. We roll a D100 first to determine if it's just an archway. If it's 50 or up, it's door. Lo and behold, it's an archway. So, to set the scene, as these two go pass through this room, Brynjar and his half-elf companion, he awkwardly carrying her, she being his eyes, essentially, as he is carrying her, points out across the way. There's an archway on the west side. Let's keep going, sort of thing, as they pass by where there used to be kind of stone beds or bunk beds, where these like caravan guards that used to guard dwarven caravans that used to use these roads, where they used to stay. As the two of them just keep booking it forward. So quick room check. I think this is that's room 4. I just want to keep that in mind. Okay, so back to the passageway table. You can see where macros make this real quick, real simple, because that way I don't have to keep scrolling up and down on the PDF here. Sorry, I should have checked. What is it? It's a D20 roll. 16. Another passage widening. So we'll roll again and we'll make that modifier. We'll count for that modifier. 18. Opening to the right stairs. Go to the stairs table. Okay. So we'll go back to the draw shape table. Make this a polygon. So it kind of goes like this, and like this, and like this, like this, like that. Grab the stairs from here, bring them forward. Alright, goes this stairs table. Roll D20. 3. Down 1 level to a room or passage. So it's a room. Now back up to the room table. So these two just keep running forward. Let me just zoom out for a sec. I just want to see what this looks like. It's funny. Alright. like right near the cusp of the map too that I built out. I can always increase dimensions if I need to. Stairs, room table. D20. So get this open. This will be room 5. Dimensions. This open. Okay, and then roll d20 for room. 9. So it's roll d4. So 40 feet by d8 plus 1. $90 feet with d6 exits. Oh boy. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, give me a sec. Let's give us some more room to play with here. Bust this out to 90 by 90. Did that. I see what it did. Oh boy, that kind of sucks. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're just going to adapt and overcome as quickly as possible. So we'll reduce that to 30 feet by 90 feet instead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got my draw to open. So what we're going to do is we're just going to adapt and overcome as quickly as possible. So we'll reduce that to 30 feet by 90 feet instead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Draw to open. I went a little too far, but that's okay. We made a mistake, but we're going to live with it. As these two just keep running. I'm on the wrong tool. As they burst, follow this small staircase down into another room. We need to determine just what this room was for. We'll roll a d20. 3. This seems fitting. Banquet room. More important celebrations. In hindsight, what these two could have done is tried to hide back among the broken furniture, but it is what it is. do state.
In hindsight, what these two could have done is tried to hide back amongst the broken furniture.
16.
But it is what it is.
Furniture erect. Present. Contents. Royalty 100. Did I seriously just get a 1 on? I did. Alright, what does that mean? Oh boy, did I just run into the boss room? Did I just run into the boss room? Alright. Well, give me a sec. I'm going to mute my mic and take a drink, and then we'll get back to this. Did I just run into the boss room? Did I just run into the boss room? Alright. Give me a sec. I'm going to mute my mic and take a drink, and then we'll get back to this. Alright, so for the contents of the room, I just rolled up level appropriate deadly encounter, loot 45%, clue 75%. Then we'll roll, well, I'm not going to roll on the Dungeon Master's Guide quite yet. So this actually might be to our benefit, depending on what creatures in here. We could attempt to like run by them or whatever the case might be, and then the Kuto will get kind of caught up with whatever's in here. So let's refer to our book. So chapter 16. Monster counter tables. So it's 115. Let's roughly say it's about 130 where we need to go. I went too far. Okay. Scrolling way back up for level 1 solo PC encounter table. So level 1 deadly, we roll d6. So it's a 1. Let's see. Encounter here.
Level 1 solo PC encounter table. So level
2.
roll d6.
See, this is what happens when you are rocking a level 1 character, where 2 CR 1/8 monsters are a deadly encounter for you. Alright. Let's refer to the Underdark section, so it's about like 135. Alright. So I'm looking at a couple of these options here. Like if I get a slad tadpole, that seems a bit silly, but we'll roll a d12 and see what we get. 10. Sturge. So 2 sturges. Alright, so what are these 2 sturges doing? Is the question I have to ask. Oh, where's that monster motivation table? I honestly forget now. What do the monsters do? 112. D100. 29. Seems a bit silly for well, maybe it's not, but maybe the Sturges are conditioned to be on guard because they are in fact the denizens that are contending for this layered dungeon with the Kuatoa just constantly being a pain in the side to the fish-headed humanoids. Seems a bit silly for well, maybe it's not, but maybe the Sturges are conditioned to be on guard because they are in fact so we have let's bring these fellas forward a bit. Layered dungeon with the Kuatoa because they are giving chase. Pain in the side. And fish-headed humanoids. Didn't think this would be an issue, but it is apparently. Hopefully this isn't too confusing. Got two kind of Sturges kind of out and about in this old kind of old banquet room doing their thing. Let me go back to dungeon. I think this would be an issue, but it is. 3 exits. So this isn't too confusing. So we'll go in D3 for where the doors are going to be. So 1 that kind of sucks. Old banquet room doing their thing. You know, I'm gonna put them here. Put them here. Because we are unfortunately running out of space. Okay. Text. This is room 5. All right. Can she see this door down here? She's just on the cusp of it, so yeah, she could kind of see what's going on around there. So let's roll up whether or not that's a door or not. It is. This is the southeast door. Page 45 or so. Old D100. 52. It's interesting that there's an option here on the door table for it just to be an archway, but it is what it is. But again, it's interesting that there's an option here on the door table for it just to be an archway. So, it is what it is. So what Brynjar's going to do here, this is a touch silly, but he's going to do it, as he's just running to this towards this empty archway over here, because his half-elf companion has pointed it out. He's just going to scream like a war cry at these Sturges, hoping to like kind of get them to back off rather than to come out and attack him. So we'll make a roll for Brynjar and see what transpires. 14. He's just going Well, how easy is it to scare a Sturge, one must ask.
Them to back off rather than to come out and attack him. So make a roll for the
Give me a second. Just checking some stats. Am I? Oh, I didn't spell it right. That's why.
How easy is it to scare a Sturge, one must ask.
Wisdom of 8. I'm not going to think too highly about it. 14 is decent enough, I think. I'll call that a success. These two just keep rushing.
Wisdom of 8.
And this one, this
I'm not gonna think.
kind of Sturge, kind of like back off.
Decent enough, I think. I'll call that a success.
At the whole time, again, Brynjar, I have to remind myself, Brynjar can't see any of these creatures.
These two just keep running.
The half-elf's kind of just directing him, which is kind of funny. So she's like informing him as he goes, like, move this way, go that way, and like she'll point out that there's like Sturges coming down on them, and then he'll just like again give out a terrifying enough war cry in their direction, just causing them to kind of like back off as the two of them just keep running. The half elf will kind of look over here at the other archway and just kind of see what it's like, how it looks. So this is the eastern door. In 36. Iron door locked. I think it's quite obvious where these two are gonna go. Just get that back open and say, document that. Iron door locked. I think it's quite obvious where these two are gonna go. So, that called for rolling up a passage, so we'll go back to the passage table. Five. Oh, Willow, what I had Brynjar do is, since the half-elf is his eyes, Brynjar was told that there's some Sturges kind of like about to like fly towards them, and he just like, that's what I rolled a 14 intimidation check for, so he just bellowed at the top of his lungs at them. And again, because they're not very intelligent creatures, I think 14's, I don't want to say it's more than enough, but it's definitely enough to kind of get them to back off. So as these two continue on to this empty archway and just keep pressing forward, my hopes is that the Sturges engage the Kuatoa and kind of tangle them up enough that all three are engaged, or at least a portion of them are engaged, to kind of at least give our characters here a break, so they can kind of maybe take a breath. Getting back to passage. It's passage contents from. It's a D20 and I rolled a D100. Two. 15 feet and ends at a door. Draw shape. Black. 5, 10, 15. Ends at a door. So then we have to go door. So let me see. Oh, let me actually get a door over here. Go back to the door table. Oh no. Let me just put that in the chat for reference. It is a trap door. DC 15 perception, define, trap. If trap disarmed, avoided, triggered, roll. D4 determine what's on the other side. Okay. I don't think these two are in the right headspace to, It is a trap door. DC 15 perception, define, trap. If trap disarmed, avoided, triggered. Brynjar's definitely not looking. What's on the other side. Okay. No. I don't think these two are in the right headspace. You know what? No. They're in a chase. There's no reason why they would be this thorough. Let's go to the trap table. Make 4 rolls. So they roll 4d100. You know what? No. They're in a chase. There's no reason why they would be this thorough. So let me just get a. This thing out here for reference. My roll is 91, 89, second time I've rolled a 1 on a D100. So 91 means it's a trapdoor. 89 means... Well, we already know the notice DC. I don't recall if it's a 14 or 15, but we know it already, so I'm just going to leave that blank. Save DC is 10. Let me go back down the trapdoor there. Snakes, acid, below. I don't recall if it's a 14 or 15, but we know it already, so I'll just two. I guess we'll roll D6. There's just a basic pit trap there, right? I would think so, yeah, okay. Snake / acid below. So I guess we'll determine if trapdoor. Yeah, because this is hitting pit, locking pit, spike, pick, trap. So this is just a trapdoor with either snakes or acid below. So evens at snakes, odds it's acid. Snake / acid below. Well, looks like it's acid. So I guess we'll determine. This is just a trapdoor with either snakes or acid below, so evens and snakes, odds it's acid. Looks like it's acid. Okay. Let me just copy and paste that into the chat so I have it for quick reference. So here's what happens. These two are running. She's not looking enough, and her passive perception, again, they're not using light, so it's suffering from a -5 penalty as it is. So even if her passive perception was decent, she's not going to notice this, especially being a level 1 character. Brynjar just goes to open the door, and the pit trap swings open. And we make a dexterity save. Perception was decent. She's not going to notice this, especially being a level 1 character. Brynjar just goes to open the door, and the pit trap swings open. And that, folks, as I said before in session 0, is how things come to an end sometimes. Both these individuals have 1 hit point left. They've fallen into a pit of acid. There's no reaction to try and grab the edge. Not that Brynjar even could, because, you know, his hands are full with a half-elf fighter. Would she have the wherewithal to even grab on the edge, though? I don't think so. You know what? This is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and these two gave their best shot. But unfortunately, this is the fate of Brynjar, the Cleric of Tempest, who for whatever reason was left unconscious in the dungeon in the Underdark. He, despite all his best efforts, despite the assistance of a half-elf who could guide him through the dark, the dungeon claimed the both of them as they have fallen down into a pit trap full of acid that has rendered them, well, you know, I don't want to get too gruesome here, but to say the least, they are both deceased in this pit. Despite the assistance of a half-elf who could guide him through the dark, the dungeon claimed. Yep, he certainly was courageous to the end. To that point, though, I was planning on ending at the top of the hour here anyways. What I think I'll do, because I can do this real quick, is we're going to determine some very quick things about a character before I call it quits here, and then I'll build out that character. So we'll have character PC number 2 to start out with. So let me get a document open here. Oh no, that's a character sheet. Well, I'll need that anyways, so I'll just exit out. I want to hand out. Build out that character. So we'll have character PC number 2. Okay. Race. Class. Cleric. Stats. What else do I need? Race, class, deity. Starting region. Okay. Let's get this going. D8 for race. 5. Oh, it's a gnome. I love it. 6. Oh yes, it's a deep gnome. Stats. 4d6 down. Well, not down the line, but let's roll them up. Oh, that's a good start. 16. Oops, should copy and pasted that. Roll 4d6. 7, 11. 4d6. Not down the line, but I didn't copy and paste it like I told myself to do it. Control C. 8, 10. These rolls though, 11, 15, so that's 4 stats rolled up, 7, 10, ooh. Well again, everything can't be always that great. Alright, let me look up something real quick about the Gnome Pantheon. I'm pretty sure it's Caler... well, I don't want to say his name wrong. The Lords of the Golden Hills is the name of the Pantheon. Let me look up something real quick about the Gnome Pantheon. I'm pretty sure it's Caler. Okay. So I know Caladuran is specifically the gods of the deep gnomes. You know what? I'm honestly not all that familiar with gnomes in terms of whether or not like a deep gnome would worship like Garl Glitter Gold, for example, or Bearvar Cloak Shadow. But Bearvar is the lesser god of illusion and deception, and if any of the gnomes are going to be using illusion and deception, you'd think it would be the deep gnomes. Let's see here. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to leave out Nebulin, who is the god of invention. He's essentially Gon's aspect in the gnome pantheon. I'm going to leave him out. And I'll make it a d8 roll. I'll just go down the list just so I'm kind of being upfront. So the list is Garl Glitter Gold at 1, Bearvan Wild Wanderer at 2, Caladuran Smooth Hands at 3, Flandel Steelskin at 4, Segojan Earthcaller at 5, Bearvar Cloak Shadow at 6, Gyarados Iron Hand at 7, and then Erdlin. That'd be interesting. At 8. Roll in the 8. 3. Well, you know, sometimes the dice just want you to stick to the basics of the setting. So we're playing a deep gnome. Caladuran, Smooth Hands, and yes, Creeping Willow. These are some decent stats, minus that 6. Starting region. And a d6 for the biome. So 1. We're in the Underdark again. specifically in 4. What's 4? That's interesting. Northern Oromicos. So I'll show you that in a sec where that is. And I don't know if the setup's going to be the exact same. I might change it up a bit. Trinket table. Just give me a sec. I'm gonna mute my mic and go grab my player's handbook, and I'll be right back. So I'll show you that in a sec. And I don't know if the setup's going to be the exact same. I might change it up a bit. Trinket table. Just give me a sec. I'm gonna mute my mic and go grab my player's handbook, and I'll be right back. Alright, so trinket. We almost got 8 again, but we are off by 1. Trinket. Oop, keep pressing with the Y key. Oh boy. I'm gonna type it out, and then you folks can read it for yourselves, but then I'll say it out loud. Rope necklace from which dangles 4 mummified elf fingers. Why? Why is a question I have to ask. But I think we'll leave it there. So as you could see, sometimes, as much as you want a character to live on, the world and dice say otherwise. And then we press on to another story, hopefully one that will last longer than a session. And we're playing we're playing a deep gnome, so I'm satisfied about that. I don't know when I will be playing another session of this. In any case, there's a couple things I endeavor to do between now and then. One is to build up this PC, their sheet specifically. 2, kind of develop their situation. I think it's... I'm not decided on it. I don't know if I want to put them in a dungeon right away, or I might have them out in the world doing something, kind of on a mission that they need to kind of find their way towards, kind of, so to speak. I think that might be better on this go around, just because I've already showed you how the dungeon procedures work. I'm not decided on it. So I'd like to show you how the procedures work for determining other things. I don't know, Creeping Willow, if this Deep Gnome is an elf hater or not. Something to maybe decide. I mean, they're a Deep Gnome. There's a certain type of elf that they obviously have a lot of beef with. But that's something we can determine next session. Again, so yeah, I don't know when I'll be running another session. I'll have to look at my schedule, and then I'll put out the various details when that comes to that time. I'm sorry if my voice was quiet and I was kind of mumbling every now and then. My partner's just sick, and they're trying to sleep right now, so I'm trying to, be as quiet as possible. Otherwise, they would have been at work, and I would have been here in a kind of, not that I'm a very kind of boisterous person, but it could have been louder than this, that's for sure. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Hopefully, despite what transpired, this is an enjoyable enough session. Perhaps it's piqued some people's interest to run their own solo campaigns. The next session I'll try to remember, or at the very least we'll have some macros built out for like quick NPC generation, quick kind of dungeon room generation, things like that. That way I'm not kind of scrolling up and down through books. But yeah, I hope you all have a good day, a good work week. The Easter weekend is creeping up on us, so just keep working ahead. Eventually we'll get to that long weekend, and then all of us will have a nice long break. So everyone take care, and we'll see you next time.